Hey, DeFi community, Kevin Moeller here with DeFiancy, your decentralized finance agency for another cryptocurrency and DeFi update and insight. And today we're going to talk about several different things. One, of course, we're going to cover the overall crypto structure and what's happening in the market so you can get an eye on that. By the way, we told you guys in the last insight or two, after that Senate hearing, things started to pump after Jerome Powell spoke. And we told you guys we didn't expect that to last, that we thought the market was going to come back down before it came back up. And what do you know? It's exactly what's going on as we speak. So hopefully you're staying in touch with these insights as we try to give you a lot of information that you can use to get a grasp on your portfolio and to make better decisions. That's what we're here to help you do. In addition to that, Congress announced a hearing on crypto energy use and the environmental impact of cryptocurrency. That's going to be interesting. More details on that in today's insight. By the way, if you want to discuss any of this, we encourage you to join our Discord. If you look in the description below, in the information from this video, there's a link to our free Discord channel. Join that, join the discussion. We'd love to hear from you and chat with you and meet you in our Discord. On top of that, in today's DeFiancy Insight, we're going to talk about Layer 2 migration. Now, this is huge. We've been talking to you guys about Layer 2. We're very excited about that development and what it's doing in crypto. There's been a lot of stuff happening there that's very exciting. You need to know about it so you can stay in front of it. We've also have some more detail in a great article in the description below. So to continue your education on Layer 2, you're welcome to take a look at that article. Click the link for further reading on Layer 2 migration and what's coming, what's happening. And last but not least, in today's DeFiancy Insight video, we cover NFTs. In particular, what's going on with Star Atlas. Can this be the breakthrough game on blockchain? It might be. We're going to discuss it today and more on today's DeFiancy Insights. Without further ado, let's get right to it.
What is going on, everybody? My name is Andrew, and let's just jump into this. So, if you've been looking at the charts or looking at your app, monitoring your portfolio, you probably noticed a bit of a dip. We got a pretty firm rejection at 44K, and this is really to be expected. I think that this was actually, quite honestly, one of the easiest trades I've seen in a while. Let's move over to Bitcoin, and I'm going to show you kind of where we're at. So we got a firm rejection here at 44K, double top, classic setup here. Rejection, another rejection, and then the whales just giga-aped, as they say, in the down direction. So now that we've actually we've begun to somewhat bottom out, at least temporarily. The question is, are we going to be able to hold like this, roughly 42.5 level? To be honest, guys, I think that whether we pump back up and try to, reclaim some of this area or not, we're going to be downtrending, and I think we're going to retest this 39K level sooner than later. Again, it might not happen overnight. We might dance around, move around. The derivatives markets will push things in interesting ways or weird ways that seem illogical, but the overall trend is going to follow the narrative. And the narrative right now is not great. The stock market was actually down today. The NASDAQ, the S&P 500, close to like 1% last time I checked. And anytime you have this, crypto is going to be hurt, much worse than the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ. So, we warned you guys on Tuesday that the little pump that we did have was mainly forced liquidations and people closing their positions, their short positions, which will kind of temporarily move price up, but it wasn't actually anything substantive or real. You need spot volume, you need real demand, a real narrative to keep going. So unfortunately, this is just another fake out, and we're going to see many of these types of fake outs as we're in this bear market. All right, let's move on to something a little bit more interesting. So Congress has announced, they're announcing a hearing on crypto energy uses and its environmental impact. This is going to be very interesting, I think, because this is one of the big narratives, macro narratives, especially for Bitcoin, which uses a proof of work network. Okay, and so does Ethereum right now. And these proof of work based networks, these consensus algorithms require a lot of energy to actually confirm transactions on the blockchain. And of course, you're going to have people that see the massive amount of energy uses, which is more than many countries in the world, like smaller European countries. Bitcoin uses more energy than they do per year. Now, I'm not going to get political here, but I do think this is going to be more of a political issue. I think your left-leaning, like Democrats in the United States, are going to probably be anti-proof of work at the least, but maybe just anti-crypto in general. The way things are going, it does seem that it's not, it isn't white or black. It's not white or black at this point. There does seem to be people on both sides that like crypto, but I could see this turning into a political divide pretty quickly, right? Bitcoin using a lot of energy, so they don't like Bitcoin, and then they might just kind of basket all crypto in the same, or put crypto all in the same basket and just kind of be against it, because as you may have noticed pretty easily, Republicans are more pro Bitcoin at the moment, and it's always been that way. Bitcoin was birthed, out of a libertarian movement, basically. The ideology behind crypto is very much libertarian, right? Now that has changed, especially over the past few years. There are many people, even on the left side of the spectrum now, that are, they're not libertarians. At least they don't seem to be really against the government, I guess is what I should say. They're more pro-government, that actually see blockchain as a way to build infrastructure for social, socioeconomic systems, right? Like some people see it as a great infrastructure for being able to really create socialism as they've, their version of socialism. So it's actually, blockchain is a technology. Liberals drive cars, and so do conservatives. So at some point, it's not going to be a political divide, but I think it could be in the short term. I don't think liberals are likely to be like very staunchly against crypto, because it's going to be politically dangerous when when a huge amount of capital is in the hands of wealthy crypto people. I don't think they want to piss them off, right? Just like they don't want to piss off Jeff Bezos or these billionaires, right? They want to suck up to them because they want to be able to get money under the table, and that's how the system works. It's all about how much power and influence and wealth can you transfer to me so that I can get things done for you in Congress, right? Not to get like political or even like conspiratorial, if that's even a word. But anyway, at some point, both parties are going to be sucking up to the crypto industry, I think, but not in the short term. All right, let's move on to something even more interesting. We're getting better as we go along here. So synthetics is, if you don't know what synthetics is it's a protocol on Ethereum layer 1 right now and layer 2 optimism that allows you to create synthetic assets. That's why I call it synthetics with an X at the end. Now, I think that this thread was very interesting because one of the big debates right now in the blockchain world is whether or not we're going to have a huge layer 1 ecosystem of tens, if not hundreds or even thousands of chains that are all talking to each other, and there really isn't anyone that's particularly dominant, let's say at like 70% of total transactions. And then there's this other group of people that believe, or there's actually 3 groups, but group number 2 believes no, there's going to be one layer 1 and basically one layer 1 and then hundreds if not thousands of chains on top, right? Many people in the Ethereum community believe this, okay? And then there's this other camp that thinks it might be a mixture of both, which I'm kind of in that camp, I guess you could say. But one of the reasons, or one of the sound arguments against the multi-layer 1 chain and all of them being very important in DeFi and other things is there is significant security flaws that exist going from layer 1 to layer 1 because of the inherent non-interoperability between them. And there's no like the way that these things are actually designed, it makes sense that you would want your blockchain to be different than Ethereum, right? If you're trying to be a competitor. So this issue is always going to exist, and there is not a way that is, or there's not any obvious way to make to fix this issue in terms of, and it all has to do with bridges, right? There's attack vectors, they require multi-sigs, and I don't think that institutions are going to want to move billions of dollars between these bridges. Polygon, a few months ago, almost had an exploit. Someone found the bug early on, but it was like over $10 billion was at stake of being lost, okay, because of the bridge. So these things have issues. Not to say they won't get better, but I think that it's going to make more sense to people over time that you do have a layer 1, that it's a primary layer 1, a global settlement layer, and then you have a bunch of things on top that have the same security model, and you don't have to worry about the bottlenecks that occur bridging between different bridges. This doesn't mean that there won't be a bunch of layer 1s. I'm just saying that there's going to be a dominant layer 1, and then there's going to be niche layer 1s, like Solana. And I shouldn't call it a niche. It could be like Samsung, Apple. Solana could be a very big blockchain. I just don't think it's going to be as big as Ethereum over time, personally. And I think you're going to have blockchains built within the Cosmos ecosystem do very well and have very interesting use cases like Akash, Osmosis. Okay, I love those protocols. I love Atom, the asset, and I love Atom or Cosmos, the ecosystem. Okay, and I think Atom over time will become a valuable asset like Ethereum in terms of this tokenomic model, which right now it doesn't have a great tokenomic model, or it would be in the top 5 probably. But at some point, I do think it gets in the top 10. Atom, that is. I'm bullish on it. But I'm really bullish on Ethereum layer 1 plus layer 2 creating this really, really incredible internet. Okay, the layer 2 being the application layer, and the layer 1 being, really just it's a settlement layer, right? Or very big institutions can actually do business down there because they don't care about the gas. All right. So yeah, if you want to learn more about synthetics, just check out synthetics.io on Twitter, or just go to type in synthetics on Google. That's probably the best way to do it, and you can learn more about that. Actually, we'll post a link in the YouTube video and wherever else we send this, I guess. We're going to stick to layer 2 based stuff here. I'm going to keep the conversation going. So I wanted to open up with that for why, I'm bullish on layer 2. So that's that security issue of going between layer 1s. So right now, we're having basically a migration onto layer 2. This has been prophesied by the Ethereum maxis. Yes, there are Ethereum maxis, and I will call these guys Ethereum maxis, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that per se. So keep in mind that whenever I do share content like this, I want people to be aware that they do have a biases. Okay, Ethereum is like a religion. Okay, Bitcoin is like a religion. If a crypto or a blockchain ecosystem becomes successful enough, it will become like a religion. It has every component of religion. A lot of people within the Ethereum ecosystem will die for Ethereum. They will lay down their lives for Ethereum. It is bigger than them. They are living for something bigger than themselves. Decentralization, building a global settlement layer, right? This is the ethos, the mission, all right? So I want to point that out. But with that out of the way, the reason I want to talk more about layer 2s is because I think that this is the next big opportunity, really. Getting into these layer 2 chain or roll-ups, okay, getting into the applications that launch on them early, okay, that they need to be unique, because if the roll-up becomes successful enough, Uniswap will just launch on there. So like a lot of people's model is, let's just get on the new ecosystem and buy the exchange token. which is something I do. But keep in mind, with the layer 2 ecosystems, it is very easy for Uniswap or Aave to launch on them if they feel that they're safe enough. So that opportunity won't be as easy as getting into an Avalanche ecosystem where Uniswap's not going to launch, right? So you could just buy the exchange token and do really well. But it still exists. So the opportunity still exists. Sorry, I keep hitting my mic. Um, how I see this playing out. Okay, sorry to pause there, but I wanted to think about how I'm going to say this. I think this is going to play out in a very interesting way where you're going to have a very, very vicious competition between these layer 2s. Arbitrum, Optimism, okay? We know the names. Let me pull up something here so that you can actually see some of the ones I'm going to talk about. Look, we know the names. Arbitrum, okay? Optimism, Metis, Boba. These are all optimistic rollup based layer 2s. They are going to do better first than your ZK/Validium rollups because the ones I just mentioned, like Arbitrum, Optimism, blah, 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 they all have a composability advantage. It's very easy to have applications talk to each other, okay, and be able to basically use them like Lego blocks. They're composable. All of the code that exists on Ethereum Layer 1, you just port it over, click a button, boom, and it works just like it did on Ethereum Layer 1. So they have massive advantages. Over time, the ZK rollups are going to shine because they're superior technology. It just happens to be that they're very difficult, which makes sense. Very difficult, but the reward is very great, right? Optimistic rollups, easier, but not as good, okay? It's very difficult to move large amounts of capital off of an optimistic rollup. Okay, you can get away with moving like 10,000 or maybe even $1 million off an optimistic rollup basically instantly. But for you to move like a lot of money off an optimistic rollups, it takes 7 days. You can move funds off of these optimistic rollups basically instantly, okay, but only a certain amount. But if you're not moving millions of dollars, then you have nothing to worry about. Synapse can move a lot pretty much instantly. But if I'm going to move $100 million off of a layer 2 right now, well, I'm going to have to wait 7 days. And that's kind of shitty, excuse my language. But that won't always be the case. There's going to be this Synapse bridge, if it gets big enough, it's going to be able to move a lot. I will say though, you are adding an attack vector here. Okay, so there is issues with using these bridges, but you can get funds off. That's why I want to show you this to you. If you're on Optimism or Arbitrum and you need to get funds off, this is how you can do it. All right. Last thing I want to talk about is Star Atlas. So Star Atlas is a huge game in development right now. It's being built on the Solana blockchain. It has a ton of hype. It's got backing by FTX founder SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, who's one of the wealthiest people in the world, especially under the age of 30. I think this game is going to do really well. I will say it is unclear how much development has been done, and there are some people that are skeptical. But based off of the people backing it, I'm feeling pretty good about this. If you want to actually, invest in this, I will say be careful. I do think that this game is, depending on how you look at it over time, but right now it's got a very big fully diluted valuation. So it's got like $3 billion. Its market cap is almost 200 million, meaning you're probably going to see this go down at some point. Now, fully diluted value won't really matter if we get into a hype cycle. This can get to 20 billion, if not higher. Okay, people will pump things and pump things and pump things, but I want to warn people that there is a pretty big supply and only a small portion of it right now circulating. So as more tokens get minted and distributed to people, you're probably going to see the price go down as it becomes more inflated. I'm not sure what the inflation rate is here, but it does have a hard cap. Anyway, I think that's pretty much all I have. Sorry about the mic. Like I said, I know I tapped it a few times. Please let us know what you think about these videos. We want to, put you guys on some interesting concepts and new trends. That's why we're talking about layer 2. That's why we're talking about like we want to, get you ahead of the environmental concerns that, we know that many people within a particular political party are going to have. So these are narrative uh, these are sub narratives that make up a greater narrative, and that's what we're all about. It's getting people ahead of the narratives so they can make sound decisions in the DeFi ecosystems, right? So yeah, let us know what you think. Until the next video, happy hunting, friends.